Alright, what's going on, guys? Fortnite back at it again in here for another audio video for you guys for today. And then here for, yes, TNA Showdown. That's right, TNA Showdown is back for this week. Probably will be back next week depending on what's going on. But I was able to somehow, somewhat, able to sit through this episode of TNA and for this week's show. And I gotta say, this week's, wasn't too bad. I will say that. And, I thought, it was pretty good of a show, so I'm not really gonna complain too much about it. But yeah, we'll be talking about having my review back and my thoughts on TNA and what happened. Also, don't forget, I will be looking to make my Ustream debut, of course, probably at 6 p.m. this Sunday, so definitely stay tuned for that. Hopefully you guys can make it, and I got a great show lined up for you guys for that one as well. Alright, surprisingly, we did kick things off not with Immortal, but with Mr. Anderson, which I was pretty surprised about since, TNA likes to start things off, as always, with Immortal coming down to the ring and, having a promo. But that wasn't the case. Of course, Mr. Anderson basically saying that he wants his rematch and that, tired of not being able to get his rematch for the World Heavyweight title. Then, sadly, yes, in time, of course, Immortal does eventually come out and basically makes a rematch. That's right, a rematch from last week with Mr. Anderson and RVD. So basically, I think this is the third time since the last pay-per-view, which was Victory Road. So it will be a #1 contenders match for the main event. It's going to be Mr. Anderson taking out RVD, and hopefully, finally, we will get to see who will become the new #1 contender. Alright, right after that, we did get into our first match, which is against Mickie James and Tara, which I thought was a good match, and I was into this one. Getting into what we did get to see, of course, the Luthes press by Mickie James here, the front slam, that high, type of move, high knee, by Tara in this match, the standing moonsault as well, and also a powerbomb. We see a couple of slaps here, and a nice reversal by Tara, and giving Mickie the Boston Crab here, and basically, in a way like the Walls of Jericho, which I thought was a cool reversal. We almost got to see, the Riddle's Peak in this one, which was reversed by making into the Mickie DDT, and then taking out Tara, so which is a good thing with that. So basically, her first step in taking out Tara and going on into becoming the next Knockouts champion is getting closer, so hopefully she will get to win at Lockdown, and that's what basically happened with that one. Alright, then we get into another promo, and probably one of the only promos that we'll be talking about, and basically Flair, Matt Hardy, and Bubba Ray basically making the challenge about, with Fortune for the Lockdown matchup, and basically saying they're in power of the show, and basically in a way better than Fortune, and saying they want a match at Lockdown. The four of them against Fortune, and the other guy ended up being, that's right, randomly out of nowhere. Abyss does live and still alive, surprisingly, comes out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that at all. Abyss does return and takes out everyone in Fortune, and sending them a message that he will be at Lockdown facing them, which I thought he would be going after Crimson, but hopefully in time we'll get to see what happens with that. But in the meantime, that's what basically happened with that. Alright, then we get into a tag team street fight, and with this one we had Hernandez and his basically in a way new LAX and his new tag team partner, which to me actually looked like Chavo Guerrero, which I thought was pretty interesting and pretty funny. Taking on Devon in this one, and also his tag team partner with Meg Morgan, and this was a pretty good match. We did get to see the interference with Velvet Sky taking it to Sarita, and then them brawling as well. Angelina looking to try to help out Velvet Sky, but Winter just took her out of that, and was pretty pissed off, so I thought that was pretty funny. But in the end, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Hernandez's team does get the win, with the breast knocks, and taking out Devon and Matt Morgan. So that's what basically happened with that one. Alright, then we get into our next tag team matchup, which was with Scott Steiner and Crimson taking on Inking. And with this one, I kind of thought, Crimson would be, taking the attack to Abyss since he came back, but we didn't see anything like that. Of course, Abyss going right after Fortune. Then we get into more into this tag team match, which was basically all Crimson and Sky Steiner. We saw the belly to belly in this match, the clothesline, the double team on Shannon Moore here. So it's basically all Scott Steiner and Crimson, which actually ended up getting the win. And with Shannon Moore still getting pretty ticked off, at Jesse. So it looks like basically Inky might be going to splitting up here and possibly even having a match at Lockdown. I wouldn't be surprised about that, which kind of sucks because I actually like Inky as a tag team, so maybe this will be temporary. But yeah, that's what basically happened with that one. Alright, moving on into the main event, which is for the #1 contendership for Sting's world title at Lockdown. And of course, Sting was at ringside, might I add, basically, as a special enforcer and basically like another referee. I thought this matchup was definitely better than the matchup at Victory Road, and possibly even better than the matchup last week, which I didn't really get to see since I turned off Impact. I only watched an hour of it. But I'm sure it's definitely better than last week, so I can't really say too much. But what we did get to see in this match, we saw the headlock here, the missile drop kick, I believe too, as well, and a neck breaker. The referee ended up sadly, gotten taken out. I believe he got super kicked, if I'm not mistaken. And then, Sting was able to replace the referee. We get to see, the clotheslines and stuff like that here as well. And then the brawl also as well breaks out. And then Mr. Anderson basically, gets ticked off about, Sting coming in and basically refereeing and takes out Sting. So, he basically, takes out Sting there in the brawl. The enforcer or whatever calls for the bell since there wasn't no referees and they were both knocked down. And then, yes, sadly, we got a disqualification. So it looks like I believe RVD may have gotten the win. I'm not too sure about that. I didn't really get to see the rest, to be all honest. So, I was pretty, pissed off about that since we can't really finally see a #1 contender and another swerve basically with this. So hopefully in time we'll get to see who the #1 contender will be. Might as well make it a triple threat or something if this keeps on happening. But yeah, that's what basically comes to a close with Impact. So yeah, that about does it for this week's return of TNA Showdown. Depending on what's gonna happen, I'm not too sure. I might not be back next week. I'll have to see on what's going on and if the show is worth it. But this week's show wasn't too bad. I was able to somehow sit through it. So in a way I was pretty happy about it. Some things I didn't like, but other things I did like. And yeah, so probably won't be returning next week, but this is one of the times that I'll be reviewing TNA. But anyway, TNA still really isn't cutting in it for me too much, so that's why I haven't really been doing TNA showdowns. But it is, like I said, back for this week only. Also, like I said, I will be doing a Ustream most likely on Sunday, probably around 6, but I will definitely keep you guys updated. But that has to do it with this week's TNA showdown, and as always, I will talk to you guys later. Peace.